Okay, so you already know the deal of what we do here. This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org, and I will be discussing the social political updates. Tim Pashot, the Liberty Advisor, will be discussing all the economic updates for today, March 26, 2020. Now, just jumping right into it, a lot of the nation's eyes and ears are, of course, on New York, which just recorded its 100th coronavirus death in just 24 hours. Of course, numbers there are skyrocketing and are expected to skyrocket from there as we are getting daily addresses that are usually published by the mainstream media from the governor there, Mr. Cuomo. And today he came out and said that his decision to quarantine everyone at once was, quote, not the best strategy, and that now he has a new strategy moving forward of possibly releasing people who test positive for antibodies of this coronavirus that could go back to work since they might be immune to the virus. This seems like a very interesting strategy, a very intensive strategy, and a strategy that will include a lot of people getting a lot of blood work done. But this could be a potential one way of reopening the economy in a way that could be smart. Could be pragmatic, and could eventually lead to us resembling our normal lives away from, our Constitution being shredded and us being ushered into communism. But that's a whole nother story. Will that strategy work? Well, we don't know. There's a lot of data showing both sides of the coin here. There's an Oxford study indicating that potentially millions of people might have already gotten the virus and build up an immunity to it. Again, we don't know because, again, the testing is just not there. There's been a lot of errors. There's been a lot of mistakes made with the tests, and we're still very early on with this new virus, and we're still learning about it every single day. In Iceland, they also found out that through their wide testing, half of the carriers of the virus show absolutely no symptoms, spreading the virus to everywhere and hitting elderly people and, of course, the immune compromised. So testing will be very important here, as well as the other side of the coin and the antidote here, that there's a new study showing that 14% of the people who recovered from coronavirus actually got the virus again. So that is another antidote to all of this, showing that this new strategy by the New York governor may or may not work. But again, it's still very early on, but at least it's an adaptation. At least it's a step forward away from the madness that we've been dealing with now. And the madness is pretty crazy as hospitals, even throughout the country, are considering universal do not resuscitate orders for patients because of the lack of medical professionals, the lack of beds, the lack of staff, the lack of equipment to handle the spread of this virus. Of course, this is getting a lot of headlines. We are not yet at that situation. The decision has not been made. And of course, a lot of people are preparing for the worst. And this is why conversations, very dark conversations, are being had, like the one that we're discussing here. Also, another important update with the U.S. military as the Pentagon announces its first case of the coronavirus within the U.S. Marines that tested positive. Overall, the U.S. military is withholding the data about the people who are infected, as there is a potential for many troops, of course, who are closely held together to spread the virus very quickly. And the United States military has decided to keep that data and information away from the general public, which, of course, if it's bad, would cause more fear and panic and more distrust of the government. This is why
only police and military can gather together in large groups. Everybody else can't, because they're the only two groups that can't spread this, apparently.
Exactly. That's an important antidote here. And as we've seen through, local precincts in New York City, when one police officer gets it, a lot of other police officers that they share their locker room with, that they all come together with. There's also other footage that was just absolutely ridiculous in Miami. I don't think we could pull it up here, but I'm just going to explain it quickly. They had a bunch of police officers with these air rifles shooting tear gas balls at a bunch of young kids during spring break, and it's a horde of police officers all on top of each other, telling other hordes of people, "Hey, stop hoarding together." And again, the logic is just not there when you're saying that people can't do something that you're doing yourself. Again, there should be a lot of precautions. There should be a lot of smart, intelligent measures here. They're not. They're absolutely not. This could have all been avoided, but again, let's not play the blame game here. It's important to understand what is happening. It's important to get all the news. There's a lot of updates. The story is moving fast. We covered a lot of it in the other 2 videos we did today. So definitely check out those, because those had the bigger kind of events here. These are just some of the latest updates that we're hearing, that I'm hearing specifically socially and politically, but also economically. Tim, I just want to throw it to you, and then also the news of this hedge fund manager getting $2.6 billion betting against the market. What's the story there? And there's also another stimulus 2.0 happening. Holy cow. Tim, just take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. And I was actually able to get that video pulled up slightly on the spot. Didn't get to play all of it, but anyways, hedge fund boss Bill Ackman makes $2.6 billion by betting against the markets just days after stoking fears by giving emotional interview, warning heck was coming and begging Trump to shut down the country over the coronavirus pandemic. So he made 100 times his initial $27 million bet. But Bill Ackman, I mean, I do want to point out, though, I mean, last year he had a good year, but prior to that, I mean, he had been getting absolutely wrecked and was sort of becoming like a joke of the hedge fund industry. So you go back to his Pershing Square Capital Management suffered double-digit losses in 2015, 16, also saw a decline in 17 and 18. And last year, I think it was up something like 56-ish% or 58.1% last year, which was, twice as much as what the S&P 500 did. And then this year, I mean, I do want to point out, so I mean, it is important to make a distinction between your habit, because he had other bets that lost money, and then these helped cover those bets. And I think he even ended up making some money. And we did something that was very similar. So, I mean, I am aware of, what he was doing. So, I was on video going back to October 3rd, 2018, having a similar strategy where, however, but what Bill Ackman is doing is usually they're doing things that are a little bit more riskier, because being a hedge fund manager, they'd make their money by charging 2%, then also getting 20% of all the gains that occur. And so with getting absolutely wrecked for like 4 years, there were no gains to be had. And so they are incentivized to take sometimes undue risk. And Bill Ackman for like 4 years was just absolutely getting wrecked. And, apparently now he's able to, sort of redeem himself a little bit. But I'm wondering if those, I didn't have time to research this, but I'm wondering if this huge gain was actually able to offset the prior losses. And my guess is that they probably didn't. So it's actually, sort of hard to believe that you're up this much and yet it could still technically be down. But that's just my guess. I'd have to go actually in and check the numbers. But essentially, what I'm guessing that he did, because at least I can talk about what we did on a high level, not financial advice, but what we did is we took put options on the S&P 500 when the S&P was almost at the all-time high in January 15th. And so what happened is, as the value of the S&P 500 goes down, the value of those put options go up, and each one of those put options then gives us the opportunity to buy 100 shares of that particular stock. And so right now, we are sitting relatively pretty on that. However, we also had losses on the other side of the equation. So unlike Bill Ackman, so we are down about 5% year to date, but being down 5% and then us, going up last year and the year before that, it's, I would wonder if my own performance was potentially better than Bill Ackman's, just because we didn't see those gigantic declines that he saw over those years. Because remember, if you go down 50%, you got to go back up 100% just to go back to even. And he had some famous bad bets. I believe off the top of my head, one of them was, what's that drink company? It's Herbalife. I think he was trying to say that was a Ponzi scheme, and that was, a lot of bad, shady stuff was going on there. That was his claim, not mine. And he tried shorting that one. I'm pretty sure he got absolutely wrecked on. I think that was the one that completely wrecked him. And he was, putting out all these pieces. But, who knows if he actually cares about the country and wants it shut down, or if he wanted to make a lot of money. He's one of these guys who I don't really trust, as far as I can throw him. I've got a bad shoulder, so I can't throw very far. But yeah, I mean, good for him that he was able to make some money and probably employing a very similar strategy. But what I'm guessing what he did was probably on the riskier side of things, whereas we were actually trying to hedge bets. But yeah, I mean, that's what's going on from the hedge fund side of the world. And most hedge funds don't actually. So hedging, what that means is you heard the term like hedge your bets. And so if you're a political or you're a lobbyist, you might give some money to the Republicans, you might give some money to the Democrats, and then that way, if either one of them are in, you own them, and then you get your communist, socialist, fascist bailout, no matter who's in play, because you were able to buy off all the politicians. So you're hedging your bets. So over here, he had some bets that were betting on the economy, had other bets that were betting against the economy. And so, and actually the bets against the economy in this case actually outpaced the ones that were betting on the economy, Luke.
Yeah, I just got a breaking news alert. It's not breaking news. This is what the media does in order just to get your attention. But it says here, this is the title of this article. Here's what you should do with your coronavirus rescue check. I'm definitely not going to be putting it in the stock market, that Ponzi scheme that's being manipulated and used by politicians who knew this storm was coming and decided to make money off of it and not warn us. I'm definitely not going to be putting it where Jeff Bezos and other large corporate executives just came out now. This is other information coming in right now. Sold billions in stock before the market crashed. Again, I wonder how did these people have magic 8 balls? How did these insiders always know that issues about to hit the fan? Meanwhile, the average person, the poor person who has their retirement in the stock market gets absolutely screwed. If you get your communist Nancy Pelosi check, Nancy Pelosi, by the way, is saying, we should do a second round of emergency payments, a second UBI, universal basic income, instead of, maybe not stealing. They want more stealing, more redistribution of wealth, printed out of thin air, magic fairy tale land, which is absolutely insane. So with this breaking news alert, I'm probably going to be looking into buying some metals, some crypto, staying away from the dollar and diversifying away from that thing as much as I can. Personally, not financial advice. That's just explaining what I would personally do myself. Would I be okay with that assessment there, Tim? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to be in the traditional stock market, I mean, you could talk to somebody like myself who can give financial advice. We didn't set this up ahead of time, but we do things very untraditionally, compared to other outlets. But what you can also do is, we have abilities to do crypto IRAs where you hold the private keys. I know I don't want to get kidnapped and taken to Mexico or something. We have ways where you get into gold inside of your IRAs. But just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do it. And so, we're here to try to help people out. And Luke, kill me with a text message right now because I've got my audio turned up, so hopefully they don't hear that. But definitely apologize.
We're like multitasking. We just did 3 videos where we're like busting our arms.
And I've got a client, and one of those meetings is with somebody that probably came from here in 3 minutes. So we do got to wrap this up now.
We got 4 minutes technically. We're gonna squeeze every last drop of all the information. I mean, this is a perfect time to team up, and this is why we're doing the videos. Share these videos with your friends and family members. There's a lot of economic news coming in. A second stimulus package, like holy cow! I mean, like what? It's just absolutely
crazy. Make the stock market great again. I mean, that's basically what's going on. Make the stock market great again is all they care about. Stock market is not the economy. Been saying this forever. The people are just going to keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer. And and it pains my heart because there's people on the left that have legitimate concerns. They want to get paid more, but you're just attacking the symptom. You're not attacking the actual problem. The root problem is we're printing this money. It goes to the richest people in the world, and then they're the ones who then get to go in and buy up everything from all this cheap money, whereas we get 25% interest rates on everything we do. And so it's just it's complete crony capitalism. And the real crux of the problem is, let's say in 1964, minimum wage was about, I don't know, it's like $1.25. But back then the quarters actually had real silver in it. So if those quarters were a quarter ounce of silver, so if you had 5 quarters, which would be $1.25, and I'm not sure what silver's trading at right now, but I mean, that would be closer to $20 an hour. The money is the problem, not the minimum wage. Stop attacking the symptom, start getting to the root of the cause. And that's where I want to leave it off today. Luke.
Yeah. That's why I myself individually partnered with a gold and silver company. We'll have that link down below in the comment section or down below, or just check out the main website or whatever. Thank you again so much for watching. Tim, good luck on your call. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, stay tuned for more here on Change the News channel.